Welcome to That Didn't Work.
Good day, everyone, and welcome back to Table Babble. My name's Percy, and I'm the conductor of this poop train, and it's great to see you and listen to you, or you listen to me. I don't know what's happening. This is Table Babble.
Yay!
Anything, everything, and nothing.
Anything, everything, and nothing. That's absolutely right. Hey, guys, with me I've got Mike, who is currently remote from us. We're testing our remote recording for the first time in a long time. I think the last time we did a remote record, we just slapped a picture up.
Yeah, I'm trying to break stuff right now. So
yeah.
It's the he is currently broken stuff. That's why he's away from us.
Is it?
I mean, we put him in timeout. That's why he's.
Oh yes. Don't touch my Funyuns.
Come on,
buddy.
Come
You're
on.
going to San Antonio.
just because they sent me to San Antonio doesn't mean I don't want to be part of this just debacle.
Yeah, so Mike's with us remotely, and then at the table with me, I've got Kevin and Jason.
Yo.
And man, Table Babble. We actually it won't show up in like the actual release schedule, but we did skip Table Babble last week, so we've got a lot to talk about. We've got 2 weeks of
Babbling.
gaming and babbling to go through. So how are you guys doing this week?
We're doing well. We were talking before we kicked this off about Borderlands 3. That looks fun and exciting.
It does. If you're a multiplayer fan, I would give it that. If you're a solo player, like I think Jason you are, Borderlands 3 looks fun. The story looks interesting. I like the Calypso twins. I think that's going to be a really cool aspect of it. Like the new villain looks very fun, but it does look very multiplayer heavy.
Yep.
Very loot. It's a looter shooter, and that's kind of the direction looter shooters are going.
Yep.
And I think some people would even say like Borderlands 1 was the first real looter shooter.
I mean, there's arguments to be said for it. It was definitely a fun looter shooter.
It was the first of its kind. Is that safe to say? What do you think? What do you think competes with it?
I think it was the first shooter WoW that we got. I think is the best way to describe it, because it still had heavy RPG elements to it, and there was a lot of ways you could go with your character. Now, like with Handsome Jack and the prequel and all that sort of stuff, it really retroactively turned on itself a little bit and became more of what we now equate to the looter shooter.
That's probably true, yeah. I mean, they literally advertised a bazillions of guns.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Kevin, how about you? How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, what's new?
Nothing much.
Nothing gaming-wise?
Sounds
video
like Mike's...
game-wise? No, I'm playing Warframe mostly video game-wise.
Nice.
But I'm working on a couple Exalted campaigns, so...
Nice, yeah. I think one of those is going to be maybe for us. I don't know.
Yeah.
Perhaps. We'll see.
I'm working on that one.
Nice.
I'm also working on a Dragon-Blooded Pirate one, and...
Nice. Sounds like fun.
I'm going to run that during the week up at the shop, hopefully. And then
support your local shop.
Support your FLGS. It's
definitely support your shop.
Yeah, and we love our shop. It's called
Golem's Gate.
Golem's Gate over in Stafford, Texas. So if you're in Texas and need a shop, check it out.
Or in Houston and need a shop.
In Houston specifically, yes. Southwest Houston, if we're getting like real technical. But yeah, it's a fantastic shop. We love that place.
Kevin also has another shop, but
he does. But that's for Warhammer.
That's because he cheats on it.
Right, he's got 2 loves.
Well, Goldmine Games was first, followed by Atomic Hobby Shop up in the north side, then Golem's Gate. So
that's fair.
Well, that's a heck of a shout out to all of our locations.
That's right.
Yeah.
What about you, Mike? How's your week going, man?
That's a loaded question.
Should I answer that question, because there may be people at work that watch this?
Yeah, probably not. Probably a good idea.
So I am enjoying my conference thoroughly.
Good, yeah. Perfect.
I am learning a lot.
A great many things. You're going to take them all back and make the company better.
Exactly. Now, with that statement, now we've got to bring up poop. I
already said that I'm the conductor of Poop Train. So I played yet another session with the Real Housewives of D&D.
Oh, in your Dungeon World?
Yeah, in Dungeon World. And so we played this last night, and literally, I'm not even joking. They got out of like the tower that they were in. They finished the first dungeon finally. It took them 2 sessions. It was great. They got out of the wizard's tower, and they found out that a scouting party of orcs had come through the town. One was left alive, and he was in the town jail. So they went to interrogate him, and I crap you not, 2 hours later, they leave the jail. And they only left the jail because they had convinced the orc to come with them and be on their team. And they convinced the orc because the wizard created a fireball in the middle of the jailhouse and didn't know where to get rid of it. So she ran outside and smashed it in a horse trough.
Oh, so she Batman did.
So
Batman movie.
are you
She
sure
Batman-
that these are you absolutely sure that these are newbies?
They're 100% newbies. But I take it back. One person at the table has really played RPGs before, but only Dungeons and Dragons. And one couple has played 3 sessions of role-playing games before this.
So does this podcast Table Babble need to be called Dripping with Sarcasm? Because I feel
I don't
like
think so. No, I loved it. It was so much fun. Like, me getting to just be one orc for 2 hours was great.
sure it was,
I had to
Percy.
do no planning. I had to just make up orc sounds.
I mean, just sound like a soccer hooligan, and then you're a pretty good orc.
Basically, yeah. And we're set in the Sigmar kind of world. Warhammer Fantasy is where I've put the whole thing. And so this orc like oozes green blood and is a fungus.
Oh, beautiful.
Kevin instantly going to his phone for the memes for the Warhammer stuff.
Kevin's like, please memes. The paladin in the group worships Sigmar. Their primary villain is a Chaos Lord of Tzeentch. What is this? Bretonians aren't in AOS because they Brexited from the universe. Nice. That's pretty good. Their main villain is a Chaos Lord of Tzeentch, and then they're currently with the orc. They're going to find what I called Gorka Morka's Cunnin Stick.
Okay.
And that quickly last night became the Cummin Stick, and that's why we spent 2 hours in jail.
Well deserved. Well deserved.
It was a masterpiece of
Oh my.
weird. I learned more about my wife's friends than I wanted to last.
And Percy, how much alcohol was involved?
Almost none.
Really?
Most people at the table were drinking water.
Sobering.
I had a Budweiser Clamato.
That sounds awful.
I like them. It's fine.
As long as you like them.
And then I think one other guy had like a Bailey's whiskey combo thing that he enjoyed. So, but other than that, everybody else was drinking water. It was wild.
Speaking of Dungeon World, by the way,
Okay.
me and James up at the shop we're talking about a great Dungeon World campaign idea
Okay.
where we're 3 paladins. And then when we go on our quest, one person is immune to piercing, one person's immune to slashing, one person's immune to bashing, and then we just get in a circle and just defend the area and just trample forward
Nice.
as an impenetrable fortress,
Nice.
intercepting damage.
Except magic, because no one's immune to magic.
Yeah, but when we can cooperate, and one person will have the effect of that magic spell, while another one has the damage of it. It is
Bad.
Too much. All right, so let's get into the old Babble. Mike, what questions do we have today? Start us off, my friend.
Oh, I get to start today. All right. Well,
Start us-
I'm going to look down from the camera because I need to look at my computer. So I apologize to anybody who's watching this.
To the notes.
Yes,
never
I have to
explained
go
that.
to the notes. Okay. No more internet porn. No more. Okay. Sorry.
This tab.
That's not
Oh,
the
no,
right
you
one.
got it.
Hopefully that audio doesn't come through. All right.
Mike. You need to be dressed for this.
So with that said,
The shirt.
I was going to say only from the waist up.
well, who said I'm not? All right.
I can see him right now. He's got a shirt on.
I didn't describe any of the lower half here. Anyway, so with that said, that's going to lead me into my first question.
Whoa.
Wait, what?
That's going to lead you into the first question.
What's your pregame ritual to get ready for your RPing?
Well, we now know Mike's. Okay.
Bare butt cheeks and leather, buddy. Bare butt cheeks and leather. Yes, that will go on our outtakes.
Oh god, hey, people are watching our stream right now. And it's like an accidental stream.
Beautiful.
Okay. What's our pregame ritual? Dude, my pregame ritual is like a week long.
Well, because normally you're running 9 times out of 10.
Well, yeah, but even like as a character, so like I get the awesome opportunity to play in a game tonight. Thanks, Jason, for taking over for a little while. I when I play, I almost have a longer ritual than when I'm not playing. When I'm GMing, because like I'm sitting here trying really hard to get into this character idea.
Yes.
Like it's like getting into Dr. Doug Hauser for Call of Cthulhu it's a task, man, because like I'm not that guy normally. So it takes a little bit to get into the right mindset depending on the character.
What do you mean, a pompous ass with 20-year-old bottles of scotch coming out of his crotch?
Exactly. I don't have any scotch.
So, yeah, I don't even know where you pull those bottles out of anymore in the campaign.
Hey,
I'm glad I haven't tried to notice.
In that rule book.
I'm pretty sure you're a Cthulhu monster.
In that rule book, I have $50 a day that just comes out of my ass in whatever form I need it.
That is the best. That is the best way to describe how to use your discretionary fund for the day.
Exactly. I have $50, and listen, in 1930, that bottle of scotch was only $10. So I got 5 of them a day, baby.
5 a day, 7 days a week.
I'm gonna start making you pay your driver.
Hey, that's why I sent him home.
Oh my.
Oh jeez.
So I also take a week for prepping for characters, at least more recently, trying to think of where what choices my characters will make, and the different avenues that can come off of that.
Yeah.
Especially if I wind up talking with any other players during the week who might say, well, this is what I'm going to do, and it's kind of like, okay, well, what would my off the cuff response to that be? So that way I'm not sitting there, well, I don't really got a response. The last character I played that was off the cuff was in a vampire campaign. He was known as the director.
Nice.
That wasn't really off the cuff though. Episode to episode for sure, but the planning of that took a little while. At least it started.
There was no planning involved. I don't know what I mean. So planning to make that character, sure.
Yeah.
Everything that followed,
no. I know, but I'm just saying
that was like, hey, we're in Elysium. Prince comes out, dominate. Why? I was affected by his beast. This would be the perfect scene. I need him to go challenge that guy. I'm like, why? And granted, then I rolled 0 successes out of 17 dice, and I go, what are statistics? Because they don't exist.
Statistics aren't real. School is a lie.
Percy.
Yeah, no, that was a crazy episode in and of itself. I was in that game. Ooh.
Yeah, it was everyone in the party just grabbed a seat of their pants and just hold on for the ride. I made a completely supportive character who was like, I'm going to be in the front.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I ruffled the bag. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I was just like, what was that sound? I think it depends on character to character for me. Like, if I'm playing an improv character, you guys know it, because those are the characters that I'm just like balls to the wall, seat of my pants. I'm a kinder. Like, naturally, like my improv is just, what's the dumbest thing anyone could do in this scenario? Put on the mask. Got it. I'm in. Womp. I've got the mask on. Like, and that's literally like, when I'm improvising, I'm just like, what's going to make someone at this table laugh? Great. That's what I'm doing. But if I'm playing something more in the line of serious, like Doug Hauser, or like the character I'm going to play in our upcoming Alice game, like, it takes a long time for me to get in that mindset.
So for me, most times I kind of know the space I'm already occupying, at least for the characters. So I kind of have a little roadmap in my head, and as long as things are moving along that path, I'm not too worried. But then again, engineering background, that sort of stuff, I'm kind of OCD about certain things anyway. I mean, obvious case was Lucia. I mean, we still make jokes about it. 7-page backstory.
7-page backstory, yes.
Yeah. So, and could have been longer, but I ran out of steam and decided, okay, that's enough.
Yeah. But I think that had more to deal with the fact that you really enjoy writing.
I do, and that's why I enjoy GMing. And in fact, I think I've now, peek behind the curtain. This isn't the first time I've run this Alice game. In fact, the two players currently at this session, not remote Mike, they have also played in it. They're luckily they have slept since then, so hopefully they've forgotten some of it.
Yeah.
But
I never forget.
For me, when I'm GMing, it's usually okay. What things do I have to prep for? What sort of roadmap do I need to have in place, and what sort of sandbox do I want them to play in? And usually that's where a lot more of my pregame ritual goes into.
Yeah.
Is what sandbox am I playing in, and what boundaries are there? Percy knows this just from playing with me.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he's at to GM for me, he knows I will push up against that boundary, but I'm not looking to exceed it.
Right.
And I think that's where I have fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's probably it for the pregame ritual. So
what about you, Mike? What's your pregame ritual?
I don't think I really established one. I mean, I think I will go with what I talked about earlier because it just sounds like it's phenomenal.
That's dangerous.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which
No pants.
Oh, no pants.
So anybody that's sitting in my chair at the studio, watch out.
Oh, Percy.
Oh, Percy.
So fluffy.
It's so fluffy, huh? All right. Anyway, no, realistically, I guess, my pregame ritual has more to do with just kind of getting loose. Normally, no, I'm as far as me, I'm the guy that's just going to kind of be generally quiet and sit back in the back and kind of take in a bunch of stuff. So I try and engage more in some general conversations. Doesn't matter what the topic is, in order to be able to get to where I feel a little bit more comfortable talking for the evening.
I.e. table babble. Works.
Exactly. All
right. What about you, Mr. Percival? You got a question for us?
Yeah, man. Let's do this one. So you're a bard.
Okay.
You're a sexy bard.
Okay, hold on. Am I an undead sexy bard? Because that's possible.
You can be whatever sexy bard you want. What is your seduction method?
The spoons.
The spoons?
Instrumentation. Got to use a musical approach.
Okay, so your
you got to use
version of a sexy instrument is slapping spoons.
The question is will it be the big spoon or the little spoon?
What
later?
What and or who
Would
are you
like
seducing?
Wouldn't you like to know?
I would. That's why I asked. Orcs. Okay. Half orcs, full orcs.
I mean, I don't discriminate against orcs.
Okay.
So even the goblins too?
They're not orcs. Those are goblins.
That's true. They are like a quarter the size.
I know. But I mean,
no,
quarter of the size, 4 times the fun.
Petite orcs.
Seriously though, probably instrumentation is probably the better.
You're gonna go
like
with
music.
Okay.
I don't generally play a bard, so
sure.
And
the only sexy bard is a spoony bard.
The only sexy bard is okay. So like, give me and I think Jason, your bard example is more like Dandelion from The Witcher. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So like, what is basing your answer on that? What's your seduction method?
Dandelion was known for his frilly, outlandish dress, his lute playing, and for whatever reason, any woman he ended up with, it usually ended up being trouble for him. Like, even though he was able to get with the ladies, it usually only lasted for a week, maybe 2, sometimes. But it was always the high-class ladies, because, again, He looked fancy. He sounded fancy. He had all the best stories. So it's how well can you sell yourself?
It's all charisma.
It was all straight charisma, but bad luck charisma too, because the minute he would start playing at any soiree, the lady he was with or the lady that he got into the place with, he was usually getting hit on by the other ladies, and it turned into a big fight, and then he would have to run out of town. So the best bard is a spoony bard, because then it just really doesn't matter, because you've got both a heartthrob and someone trying to kill you in every town you've been to.
That's fair. I think you should describe what spoony means for the listeners.
Oh, it's too late. You've been using that.
You've been using that term. You got to tell us.
Oh,
yeah.
It's not a very used term to describe the bard.
So a spoony bard is someone who's light and fancy free, a bit more cavalier in his or her approach. I've seen female bards be spoony bards as well, but basically they're a lot more aloof, but they are talented, they are well dressed, they typically are bombastic, they try to sell themselves as the hero of their own story when they're usually not, that sort of thing. That's kind of they're a little footloose, they're a little loose with the rules. I mean, that's the best way to describe a spoony bard.
So, Percy, what's your answer to this question?
Oh gosh, see, here's the difference in you guys and I, is that I play and sometimes am a bard.
All right.
So, I mean, if you're gonna seduce, it can't just be like a roll of the dice, right? It can't just be like I do perform, I play my lute.
Well, okay.
You gotta set some tone and stage. Like, you can persuade in that way, but I think seducing is a little bit deeper than persuading. I think you gotta get the barkeep to turn down the light a little bit.
Oh, you want to actually describe the whole situation?
Douse some, yeah, man. How do you seduce? You go in and you see this burly, hot orc sitting in the corner, enjoying her 18th tankard and full chicken,
bones and all, huh?
Bones and all, swallows them whole. Ooh. And you're like, this is the orc for me. How you do it? You turn down, if it's this orc, I like this character you've created for me, Kevin, that I now have to seduce. Because you turn all the candles. The only light in the room is in the hearth. The only light in the room is the fire in the center of the room,
and your eyes,
and my eyes. As I strike the first chord on the lute, because I am a bard, I do have a lute. Sometimes bagpipes, depending on the situation. Maybe actually bagpipes work better for the orc.
No.
I think the lute doesn't really work for the orc.
Bagpipes work for the dwarf.
The bagpipes
do
work
more
for
of
the
an
dwarf.
accordion for an orc.
Accordion, okay.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Okay.
I'll take the accordion.
I think Mike's wanting to interject here.
No, I'm good. I'm going to let Percy
turn.
keep going.
You can have the orc later.
Might get sloppy second.
You get the sloppy orc second.
Well, he gets sloppy first. I mean, it's an orc. I mean,
it is. So you play the first note, and then you spend the entire song dancing on other people's tables, maybe even starting a bar fight.
Yeah.
That's how you get that orc on your side. Or back.
Oh, it's hot in here.
Or what? You got me. You got me. So that's, I mean, it is situational, but you have to, especially because, like, okay, in games, I don't do the whole sex scene. I think that's weird. Go watch Game of Thrones if you really want that.
Starting next week.
But are you saying we can't look each other in the eyes when we're doing L5R as I described?
Wait a minute.
What Lady Otaku does with her horse is her own thing.
Wow, that's rude.
Okay, so I'm going to interject on this one because you guys are struggling here.
I'm not sure. I'm doing fine.
So I guess that the way that my bard would go about doing this, and I'm going to go back to a comedy side. I I think it would always have to be preceded by inappropriate comment. You kind of throw them off their game, and then something along the lines of I saw this one quote that I'll use here that I think will be funny. I trained to be a priest. I went to seminary when I was 11. Wanted to be a priest, but then they told me I could never have sex, not even on my birthday. So I changed my mind and picked up the loot.
Nice. The old Bardney Stinson.
Pretty much.
I thought that was a lot funnier in my head than it was when I said it out loud.
It kind of fell flat, just like I did.
All right.
Alrighty then. So now we're at dead silence. So
yeah, I think we're looking for the next question.
Yeah, next question. Question, please.
Next question, Mike. You go. You got another one. I think maybe.
Well, let's give anybody else at the table a turn.
I asked like 3 questions last time.
You're used up. I'm spent.
Well, no. I mean, you got Jason.
Like
All right.
work at the bar, he is spent.
So since we've kind of been going back and forth on whether or not we got some silly answers or some silly questions and some regular ones, Percy, we'll kind of go around the table since we're all GMs here. What advice as a GM would you give for picking up a new game and running it for others?
Like picking up for the first time?
For the first time. Something that's sitting on the shelf that you've never tried.
That's a tough one. I love doing that. I love testing new games and reading rule books. My wife makes fun of me because I will read rule books for board games that I don't even own to try to figure out if I want to buy them.
You might have a problem.
That's part of my hobby is I just read rules for stuff. I've got several RPG books on my shelf, in fact, that I just have because I wanted to read the rules. So, man, what do I do first?
Clearly, you read the rules.
Picking up a new game and running it for others. I think the first thing that I do is read through the fluff of the book to know how to get other people excited about playing the game. Because I don't have players, I don't have a game, right? So once I've got that basis, once I know here is what I do, then I figure out, and I usually try to condense what's in that rule book down to 1 to 2 pages of explaining how the dice work in that game and the core mechanics of how basically everything happens. And for me, this is like a personal choice. If I can't do that in 2 pages, then I don't really play the game because I don't like that much. I don't like to keep track of that much stuff.
All right. Kevin.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, normally first I like to try to play in it before I run it, just so I can learn the rules. But other than that, probably write up a short adventure, which is what I did to try to incorporate each different aspect of the rule to learn as I go before I try to fully engross. And then if you ever have, just for certain things, you might want to grab a friend, try to say, if you are still trying to fully figure out combat, grab a friend, throw down a couple quick characters for him, have him fight it out with 3 characters, and you make the scenario for him to go through specifically for that. For combat, right now I'm still grasping social combat in Exalted, so I have a lot of stuff in my first thing that has a lot of entry into social combat, where I wrote up a bunch of different stuff for that. So to try to fully engross and learn the system. Other than that, play it first before you take it out for a test drive, just so you have a rudimentary understanding of the rules. That's for me, because a lot of times it's harder for me to grasp just reading. I have to experience it to fully grasp it.
Yeah, I'm with Kevin on that one. I think sometimes if you can find it, play it, and if you can't play it yourself, usually there's enough out there on the internet these days that you can usually find most systems, unless it's brand new, and even then, there's usually at least someone who's gotten it early and has put a video out there about it, at least from a rope mechanics, like Shut Up and Sit Down does a lot of board games as an example. But there's those type of podcasts and videos and other things out there that take you through sort of the rope mechanics, if you will. What I look for after the rope mechanics, for me at least when I'm running a system, is where do I think the out of bounds territories are? Because again, just like with the previous question earlier, I look for those sort of sandbox areas, and I don't want the players kind of exceeding, you may get a bunch of newbies at the table and you may have a bunch of experienced players, but at the same, you kind of need to know where those landmines or pratfalls are, or where the edges of the sandbox are. So I would always look towards, like, how can I break the system? What's going to game break the system? What do I have to worry about if I set up, so like encounter sizes and knowing, okay, the players can build characters that are X strong, like Exalted is a perfect example. You can sometimes upset the balance of combat, social or physical, by having the wrong combat type there. I mean, you could totally wreck a party, or you could have your combat that you thought was going to take a while get wrecked in 2 shots. I mean, it kind of goes both ways. So,
well, for that, I always have, and you can hate me for it, at least if it's a fiat, if it's my fault.
Yeah.
A planned fiat for if I go, oops, I definitely did not expect this to be as tough as it was. Like, y'all, I misread this. This is actually for a group of level 20 characters. Y'all are level 3. My bad. Let me hope I have something to save you.
Yeah. Oh, and that's the thing. Always have a backup, especially if it's your first time, because that's usually where the mistakes are made. Is you're gonna over calibrate or under calibrate or have some level of expectation. If you're an experienced GM, you may know those things, but for any GM, sometimes especially in a new system, learn those things, because that's balance is key in a lot of these things, and I think that's where your players will have more fun, is if they feel like it was a challenge, but it wasn't the challenge, if you get what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And I think knowing that going in, especially into a new game, is where it can help or hurt you in the long run.
So what about you, Mike?
Well, I guess, I kind of look at this, when I came up with the question, it was from the basis of I'm standing in the game store and I'm looking at something brand new, just hitting the shelves. Yeah. Obviously, there's going to be a bunch of hype that sits out there. Most producers or content producers, they're going to turn around and they're going to try and hype up their product just for the sale, right? So what I usually do is I'll take a quick 5 minutes and read through the preface of the book, just to kind of see if what's there hooks me. And if not, then how am I going to make it interesting for my players? Mm-hmm. That's kind of where I look at it from a very early stage, because so I understand all of the in-game play, and can we make the encounters interesting, and can we make them balanced? Can we can I get people to the table? But at the very beginning of this, if the game doesn't hook you from what the concept is, move on. There's plenty of other ones out there.
Oh yeah, I have a friend who chooses his role playing games by reading the preface. Almost every role playing book has that beginning section of what is a role playing game. And if it's not there or it's badly written, he just moves past it.
Interesting.
Well, because if they're not trying to entice you on what a role playing game is,
sure,
or what it or instruct you in it, well, how's this a good role playing book?
Mm-hmm.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yep. All right. So we're going to move on to the next question then. Percy, what you got?
Oh, man. I just closed my notes because I'm a bad person. Let's do, and I think let's just do one or maybe two more questions, depending on how quickly this one goes. So the other party members find out that you've been hoarding all of the treasure.
Oh, so I'm
the
playing a rogue.
entire game. I've seen wizards do this too. Get your bag of holding and extra dimensional portals, and you got yourself a little grift going on. But the other players find out about your grift. What do you do?
Am I the hoarder or am I the
You're the
party?
hoarder.
Oh. So I had something similar happen to this, where I figured out the price of an item and then I lied straight with a non-charismatic character, just straight lied to everyone with a mighty 5
Nice.
and passed.
Nice.
Nobody contested it. Not even the paladin.
Okay.
Because he rolled a 1. And then I felt bad because I was just messing. My character was just messing with the party, because that's how my character was. But I think it really depends on what I'm hoarding it for. If there's an objective that I'm trying to reach,
Like a secret objective, like something like you've got a dark pact or something like that.
And I guess it also depends on how I got the loot. So if I'm actually cheating them, or I happen to find this, or I got an item from the I took the time to collect these items, nobody else seemed to want to, I went and sold them, I somehow got more money or whatever. Depends on how I was getting that extra loot. I guess depends. If it's shady, well, I'll just be like, I don't know what you're talking about. This was mine all along.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as one of the more natural rogues at the table, I think for me it would be more about kind of to that point is how did I get it, or what's the situation going on. If I've been doing it the whole session and I get caught at the end or some way through it, I'll just be like, okay, well, you caught me this time, and just, sarcastically go this time enough to make them think, oh, he just got us this once, and then go right back to it and see how much longer I can keep the con going, because most of the times players aren't going to challenge like it multiple times unless you just are bad at it.
Oh, this is for the Rundown Orphanage Fund.
Yeah.
That's another good one.
That's a good con. I like that con.
The Rundown Orphanage, or for our, this is for the offering played at our local All Saints Souls College University
Absolutely.
Platinum Church of Giving.
Platinum Church of Giving. What is it? What's the one in Airplane? The Church of Religious Consciousness.
Yeah. or my personal favorite, the pastor needs an airplane.
I do.
Because he has to fly around saving people, like Superman.
Yep.
But he can't fly, so he needs a plane to do it.
All right. Well, we won't get too religious on this show. I mean, if I don't get to do it, you don't get to do it. And I literally work for a church.
I know you do. But sorry, that one is too good to pass up. There's too many of those stories out there for that not to at least be joking material.
All right, Mike, what do? You get caught with all the gold.
Well, usually I'm the bruiser. So at that point in time, I'd probably just look at the rest of the group and say, I can carry more.
I got bigger muscles. It's fine.
You don't want to know how much gold weighs, guys. Come on.
That's right.
Look at him and just say, come and take it.
No, because then there's a mage with a level 8 fireball.
He's not wrong. Depending on how long this grift goes on.
And that bag of gold may be weighing him down.
Well, I mean, if you're getting to like the level,
if you're getting to
10
there,
plus,
by the way,
you've either got a bank or you're not carrying.
Also,
all
I
that with you.
don't think that wizard's going to cast that level 8 fireball in your face. So I think you're pretty good.
And depending on which barbarian you are, you might be resistant to magic anyway. What is that? Totem of the Bear? Is that what that's? Resistance to magic,
so.
or is that?
I think it's just resistance to all damage.
Yeah. I couldn't remember if it was Totem of the Bear or Path of the Ancients that gets you that.
Path of the Ancients gives you ghosts.
Yeah, and they're awesome. It's so rad. All right, I think we're almost 45 minutes in, so I think that'll do it for us this fine Table Babble day. guys, are there any passing final words of wisdom you'd like to share with our audience out there?
I think Kevin's hungry. Let's let him eat. Otherwise, he'll start eating the table.
Kevin's pulling out a burger. This is his word of wisdom.
Wendy's is good. Eat it.
Eat Wendy's.
I don't know.
This episode sponsored by Wendy's.
Not really, guys. But
Hitting on a nun is a useless endeavor.
But not if you get her to break her face.
It's just a habit.
oh, that's a bad joke.
That's a good one. I like it. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of that one.
It's like that bad Van Helsing movie. I'm not a father. I'm just a priest.
That's right. I'm not a father. That's awesome.
All right, we're crashing.
We're crashing. We tried. All right, guys. We'll catch you all next week, and until then, keep on adventuring.
Have a good one.